Preach, episode 14. Welcome back. How we doing? How's everybody? Screen Preach, episode 14. And we're gonna talk about movies as usual today in the name of the Godfather, the Son of Odin, and the Holy Jedi. If you hear any loud banging or whatever, it's my neighbors are just above me. They get a little rowdy sometimes, but try to ignore it and focus. We're going to talk about movies. It's a new week. It's a new day. It's honestly it's a new week, but does it feel like anything's changed? Actually, some things have changed. We got, for me, on my end, things are starting to move a little bit. I don't know how things are for anybody else, but openings are happening. Like, my restaurant's opening up. I might have work again, so that's fucking great. It's awesome. It'll be less hours, weirder shifts. Things will just be different for a little bit, but that's how it is. What else? What else is going on? I didn't really watch a whole lot of different stuff. I'm on season 3 of Rebels now. It's very good. It keeps getting better. I finished The Outsider, the book. Finished it. It's done. I decided I'm going to read Salem's Lot. It's one of his best books, one of his classics, Stephen King, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And there's a direct connection to The Dark Tower with Salem's Lot, with one of the characters. I know that because I read The Dark Tower, and so some of it, I don't know if it ruins something or not, but spoils something for me or not, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading that. But The Outsider was really, really good, like a really good book. I went right through that, I guess it wasn't that fast. It took, 6 weeks or whatever, but that's just because I read more than one thing at a time, so I can't, speed read or anything. But it was cool. There are connections, you have to realize too that like these creatures in his books, they come from a place from the Dark Tower series, all his monsters derive from Tadash space or whatever, the evil multiverse of darkness, everything can be tracked right back to the Dark Tower. That's what's so cool about it. So the creature that it ends up being in The Outsider, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the series. I'm gonna watch the series now and see what they do differently, how the adaptation of that goes. But this shapeshifter, it is a similar creature to what Pennywise is in It, or what Dandelo is in the Dark Tower. These creatures, they come from that dark alternate, one of those universes, the dark universe, that Roland the Gunslinger in the Dark Tower is trying to protect us from, trying to keep the Dark Tower from falling so that those creatures don't get in. And sometimes they do get in just randomly. Sometimes there's breaches, and that's what these creatures are in all his books. They come from that. It's cool. It's a cool idea for him to have that connectivity, because he's always said the Dark Tower is his baby, his masterpiece. It's the thing he always went back to in between other books, and took decades for him to finish that series. It's really, really cool. I can't wait to watch so I'm gonna watch that. I'll finish what I'm watching now at Star Wars, and then I'll watch The Outsider. Looking forward to that, so that's cool. In the book, the Outsider, actually, he even says the word Ka, which in the Dark Tower is like faith or your soul, or I guess the Force a little bit, kind of like fate. I guess fate is what it is, really. Destiny is what you can relate Ka to. So there's always a little connection everywhere in his books to the Dark Tower. But yeah, that was cool. So that, can't wait to watch the series. I'm a little behind here today. I woke up late. later than I normally do, which I hate. Fucking hate that shit. Because then I'm behind on like what I always have a very schedule oriented day. I do stuff all day. I'm busy every day no matter what, even if it's redundant shit. It's so it bothers me when I'm behind in any sense, but. Might do a little bit of a shorter episode today to help with that. And I mean, I'm just talking about an oldie from 2 years ago now, today, that I rewatched, and it was fun to rewatch. We'll get into that in a second. There wasn't a whole lot of news, but I'll get to it. There was some interesting stuff. There's something just in this morning, too, that, why am I'm itchy sometimes. I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah, some interesting stuff just came in today, too. But anyway, remember to subscribe to BMS Studios. I changed the name. Ben Morganti Story Studios. BMS Studios is now what it is. It's not Morganti Studios. So just remember to subscribe, and you can always be up to date on when there's new episodes of the show, or if you like to listen to it, which I think, I don't know, I would rather listen to it. If I ever if I go through old episodes, I like to listen to it on Apple. But if you like watching it, you should definitely subscribe to BMS Studios. And I threw up some oldies recently this week. I put some classic short films that I did back in the day, about 5 years ago, for school. I figured throw them up on the channel, so they're up there, and they're kind of fun. I mean, we stink. We all my direction stinks. My my writing's not that much better, and we're all just kind of goofing off and just having fun with it. So it's not anything serious, but they're fun. They're fun. I hadn't watched them in years, and so when I did rewatch them, it was funny to rewatch them. They're up on BMS. Go subscribe. Go check those out, and stay tuned every Monday for new episodes of Screen Preach. What else is going on here? Honestly, not that much. Seriously, not that much. So I guess we could just get into news. I don't know what else there is to update on. Show-wise, I don't think that there's anything new to watch. Rick and Morty's got one episode left, I think. And then once again, we wait. So HBO Max came out. I got it. It's not crazy right now. It doesn't have a whole lot. But if you want to watch Friends or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that's where they are. If you want to watch Robot Chicken, I saw that they have that. If you want to watch any old cartoons from back in the day, like I used to watch Scooby-Doo as a kid, they have all the Scooby-Doos on there. Not that I'm going to watch Scooby-Doo, but Scooby-Doo is on there. The Looney Tunes are on there. It's funny, too. Ben 10 is on there. That's something I probably would rewatch. To me, growing up, that was like my Avatar, like The Last Airbender. Like, that was, for me, my favorite, like, cartoon, like, adventure cartoon. What else is on there? So movie-wise, there's a lot. It's Warner Brothers, so it's basically just Warner Brothers streaming service now. So it's everything HBO, but also everything Warner Brothers. So you're gonna have, like, they have all the Harry Potter films. They have, like, plenty of DC comic movies. Joker's on there. I think it's the newest one that's on there. But I'm interested to see how it grows, so it should be fun. A bunch of stuff should be on there. But I brought it up, too, because Rick and Morty is on HBO Max. But Rick and Morty's also on Hulu, I think. So what's the point, really? If you were getting the episodes early, then I could see the point. But they don't have season 4 on there right now. There's still, like, it's the same as Hulu. It's only 3 seasons right now. That would be better. That would be a better grab for HBO Max if they were, as they're coming out every week, they're also showing up on HBO Max. That would be fucking great, obviously. Because right now, if you don't have cable, there's no way to watch those episodes unless you buy them on Apple or something, or you. Yeah, no, that's it. Because even on demand is fucking cable, so there's no other way to watch them. So if they were like streaming them, like, I get it, I guess, because then what's the point of even having them on Adult Swim? But fuck Adult Swim and cable. Streaming is now. Just put it all, get it all on streaming. I don't know. With TV, it's like, can we move past cable? It's obsolete. With movies, don't even try to argue with me. We need movie theaters. There's no experience like it, and I can't wait to get back into one to see something that nothing will ever compare to that experience. There's just nothing. We'll never not have movie theaters because of the experience. I think they've taken such a hit because of this virus, and still people are they know that we're gonna have theaters back. Like, we can't not have theaters. Like, it's too sacred a thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to whatever the earliest stuff coming out is. Interesting stuff about Tenet. I was just reading up on Tenet this week because I'm looking forward to seeing it. The main character, the lead actor of the film, John David Washington. I think it's John David Washington. He kind of made a joke that, like, it's a sort of sequel to Inception. I never thought of there being connectivity in Nolan's films, but maybe there is a little bit. If you really look, maybe there is. I don't know. No one's really ever found anything that connects his films, but I wouldn't think there'd be a connection to Inception. Maybe there is. If there is, that's cool. So I didn't realize some things about John David Washington. I know him from a couple of. He was in Ballers, which is a good show on HBO. He was in that, and I liked him in that, but I didn't realize. Oh, you know what? You know what really made me like him was Black Klansman. That's what it was. That's when I knew he could really act. He's good. He's really good. But I didn't know that that's Denzel Washington's son. That's Denzel Washington's son. That guy. That kid. The John David Washington, who plays Ricky Jarrett on Ballers, and who plays Ron Stallworth in Black Klansman. That's Denzel Washington's son. I did not know that. That's crazy. I should have known that. I also didn't know he played in the NFL for like a season. I think on the Rams back in like 2006. He was a football player before he was an actor. I didn't know these things. It's cool to, like, when you learn about actors when they have big movies coming out. But that cast, man. Robert Pattinson also said that, ironically, the first day of shooting Nolan's Tenet is when he got the call to play Batman for Matt Reeves. That's kind of funny, considering Nolan is the king of Batman adaptations thus far. So yeah, Robert Pattinson, John David Washington. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's in it. There's a cast in Tenet that's really, really good. But yeah, not a whole lot of crazy stuff. Let's get into the news of the week. So, a couple things I did put up on Screen Preach's Instagram, so you might have seen it. But a couple of the things that were mentioned here. Yeah? Yeah, right? I wanted to talk about this real quick. So, the Invisible Man director, he, what's his name there? I forget his name. But he had an interview recently, and it's a cool little update, I guess, for the Invisible Man episode that I did, so I thought I'd talk about it. Because I predicted that there was a chance that Tom, Adrian's brother, who is revealed to have been in the suit at one point or another in that movie. Spoilers, still, if you haven't seen it. I predicted there's a chance Tom was always in the suit. in a recent interview, the director said that it was definitely Adrian in the suit, except for that one climactic scene. That was Tom. The rest was Adrian. But here's the thing: the point of the way it's filmed, which was very, very well done, is to make you still. It's to make you think about it. I don't even think I would, if I were him, I wouldn't have even said that. I would have left it to the audience to try and figure it out. But I guess in his opinion, so it's still in his opinion. Even though he made the movie, the story world has a way of working on its own. The characters have minds of their own. It's still just, it could be any. It could still be left to anyone to decide how that went. I still think there's a chance Tom could have been in the suit the whole time, but just by the way that those specific scenes were filmed, which I mentioned. But the director seems to think it was Adrian, definitely Adrian, except for that last scene there. Sorry if you hear any loud bass thumping or whatever. But like I said, my neighbors. What else did I see this? There wasn't a whole lot this week. That's okay though. We have weeks like that. It is a slow time too. Indiana Jones 5 update. So Frank Marshall writing the script, and James Mangold directed. See, I figured, I didn't know if that was new news when I put it up, but I guess it is. I didn't know James Mangold is going to be the one who's directing Indiana Jones 5. That's so his style, too. James Mangold he's a Western style filmmaker with 3:10 to Yuma, Logan, I am going to talk about Logan in a few weeks. So I'm really looking forward to that because I'm going to deep dive into that movie. It's a fucking masterful film. But that's fucking great. I love that. So Spielberg was going to come back and do it. But I guess now he's still just a producer and James Mangold's going to direct it. I'm very excited. That's cool. His most recent film, James Mangold, you will know as Ford vs. Ferrari. And that was a great film. I don't have to tell you. I'm definitely looking forward to his interpretation of Indiana Jones. Whether or not Harrison Ford is I don't know what's going on with that movie, honestly. But the fact that James Mangold is attached makes it more fun, more interesting to look forward to. What else? What else did we have this week? There was this rule change thing. Look at this. Listen to this, okay? So the Golden Globes is making a rule change that goes against The Mandalorian. When I first read it, I was like, oh, they're going to try to make it so that wow. Fuck. I'm blanking on his name. The actor from Game of Thrones who plays the Mandalorian. Oh, Pablo. Damn it. I'm sorry. And I can't look because my computer's whack. You know this by now. I can't look because it'll fuck with the recording. Seriously, I do things at the same time as the recording. It starts to skip, and then there's a chance it stops. I don't want to deal with it. Happened last week. All I know is that I thought maybe they were going to help him try to get a nomination. Instead, their rule change is you have to be seen, your face has to be seen on screen for you to be in contention as a nominee in the Golden Globes. That's the rule change. So basically, fuck you is what they said to The Mandalorian. So that's really stupid, too. I always thought that rules like that were stupid when I saw the way that Andy Serkis played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films. The way that he motion captured that ape, that protagonist for us. He did a fantastic job, and I thought, why not give him a nomination for Best Actor? Why not? Why not be more, creative with your fucking just... they're so dull, these award shows, man. Um, Not to mention they're not very good progressively, as we've seen too in many years here. But even with things like these big blockbuster films, they do not give them enough credit, man. Whatever. I've said it. I think I've said it before on the show. I'll say it again. Award shows are kind of stupid because they're trying to put a title on. They're trying to award art, which is a subjective form. No, what they thought was the best film of the year, half of the planet is not going to agree with. It's just whatever. Let's move on. Dumb rule change. Some cool, yeah, obviously. So Apple boards Leonardo DiCaprio and Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm always keeping up with whatever Scorsese's doing next. I was keeping track of The Irishman for almost, I want to say like 7 years. But back when I was in high school, was when I first heard about The Irishman. It's crazy to think that I tracked it for so many years, was waiting for it for so many years. It finally came out, and it was everything that I expected it to be. It was very, very great. It was a great film. I guess so. I don't know how this works. So there's a chance that Apple TV Plus is just a subsidiary. They're an investor in this. I don't know how it. I don't think that it means that Scorsese's. I don't think it means that this film is going to be on Apple TV Plus exclusively, like The Irishman was on Netflix, because Paramount is still involved. So Apple teamed with Paramount now. I'm expecting still a theatrical run, a normal theatrical run for this one. So Scorsese's back in the theater for a normal run. The Irishman was in theaters for a little bit. Barely any time, honestly. Should have been in more theaters too. It was only in select theaters. It was kind of a problem for me to. Well, I saw it. I saw it in New York City. I went and saw it in the theater, and it was great to see it in the theater. Are you kidding me? Fucking amazing. So yeah, I would really. It just would be easier if it was a normal theatrical run here. And the good news is this film will be on Apple for me to purchase. It still bothers me that I cannot purchase The Irishman and add it to my growing collection of films. But whatever. He's only my favorite director of all time, and I have every other one of his movies ever. But I can't have the one that I waited 7 years for. It's insane. It does bother me to think about. Killers of the Flower Moon, shaping up to be really interesting. It's De Niro and DiCaprio, his two superstars, teaming up with him for the first time together. So that was interesting. Then there's a chance Henry Cavill will return as Superman. It's been confirmed that he's definitely in talks to return at some point. It just tells me that there's separate realities for DC films. They're not connected. There's either solo films, completely singular individual stories, and then there's their little tiny universe that's connected, and with continuity errors and plot holes and a bunch of just, I don't know. The point is Henry Cavill will return at some point, it seems. Where he will return is unknown. We will see him again before this appearance, whatever it is, when Snyder's Justice League comes out next year on HBO Max. We will see him again in scenes that we have not seen before, I'm sure. As I mentioned, that film is getting reworked in a million ways to be something special and different. So, I mean, that's still cool. I still like him as Superman, even though his various outings as the character have been lackluster. I still think he plays a good Superman, even if writing has butchered him. So, what else? Really, not a whole lot. I mentioned this was very interesting to hear about. So, Universal is continuing with their monster movies after the success of The Invisible Man. There's been word of Dracula. There's been word of, I think, a couple of unknown monster movies with directors and writers being attached. Now we have Ryan Gosling to be the next person to helm, to embody, take over the character of the Wolfman. Interesting. I honestly don't see him as the Wolfman. I hope they don't fuck up. The Wolfman is by far my favorite. I love Ryan Gosling, so I mean I don't see what the problem is really. They're moving towards making a director decision very soon. I will keep you informed on how that goes and who they pick to helm this project. It's got to be the right vision. You got to get the Wolfman right. The last time they did the Wolfman was Benicio del Toro, which was a movie I actually enjoyed. I liked it. It wasn't great, but I liked it. If anything to be admired with that one, it's the makeup. They did a fantastic job with that. Let's see what this next interpretation of the Wolfman looks like. I just thought that was very interesting to find out who will be the next Wolfman. Whether or not they're still going for some kind of universe. This was a big thing. They were trying to do some kind of connected universe for their monster films. And it failed a couple times to really launch. I don't know if they're even still doing it. I think they're just doing individual films. That would be the better way to go. In the past, the classic monster movies were individual. Well before they started to overlap with each other and connect a little bit. If you want to actually try to build some kind of mega story, you should go individual first. See if you can build to some kind of crossover. I love the classics. My dad rewatched a few of them. I bought the whole collection. I'm gonna rewatch them all. The classics are great. So anytime they want to try and tackle a reboot or a redo of it, I'm interested, and I definitely want to see how they go. What else? So a couple of just-ins this week that I saw last couple days here. Lucasfilm may be looking to cast a live-action Ezra Bridger. This is the main Padawan, character of the Rebels animated series. Live-action version of him. Now I don't know his fate yet. I haven't finished Rebels. I don't know what happens. But you see, with Rebels takes place between 5 and 2 years before Luke Skywalker's story begins. So these are the early rebels in the rebellion. Some surviving Jedi, as well as a completely new Jedi trained by a Clone Wars survivor. So it's a very interesting storyline, and it's great. And to see a live-action version would be very, very cool of Ezra Bridger, to see where he... I mean, I'm assuming if there's any live-action talks for Ezra Bridger, then I'm assuming he survives. The question, of course, when you're watching these storylines that take place before other storylines is what happens to them before that makes them not involved in the storylines you already know of. So, I mean, obviously, characters like Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, they're not rebels we see in the main storyline. They don't fight alongside Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han. So what happens to them is the question. So that's why it's very interesting to even have these stories, because we want to know what happens to them. We want to know what their story is. So if there's any talks at all, it means that Ezra Bridger probably survives and something happens that forces him to not be involved in the end of the Galactic Civil War against the Empire. But same thing with Ahsoka. The fact that Ahsoka still has story to tell, these live action interpretations are interesting. Again, don't bog down new and creative and inventive takes on Star Wars by giving us too many familiar characters. New characters, new storylines, you have to be careful. You don't want to make the same mistakes Star Wars has been known to make. I don't care, me personally, one way or the other. I like all of it, as you know from my Star Wars episode. I just enjoy whatever I get from a galaxy far, far away. But I just thought that was interesting that there is a chance they're looking to cast a live-action Ezra Bridger, because he's a great character. I've come to really enjoy him, watching his story unfold. And this was just in this morning, or maybe it was last night, but for me it was this morning. J.K. Simmons has confirmed that he has been signed on to reappear as J. Jonah Jameson in future Spider-Man films. So our classic J. Jonah, who we know from the early Spider-Mans, the original Spider-Mans, we loved him. We loved when he popped up in Far From Home last year. Apparently he'll return. I always knew this would happen. How could he not return? And I think it works, too, because the J. Jonah we knew from the original Spider-Mans and the J. Jonah we're getting can be kind of different. He's older. He's an older take on the character now. So we have like an MCU. And also, we have an MCU J. Jonah and we have a classic Spider-Man J. Jonah. Even though he's played by the same actor, he can give us different interpretations of the character. Just to have him play the character, you wouldn't want anyone else. You would be okay if someone else was cast, if they did a good job. But to have J.K. Simmons, we're not going to complain. I think him being in the MCU version of J. Jonah, being J.K. Simmons, and being in like a more modern, time with the technology and the platforms he has, which was teased in Far From Home, is very interesting. Can't wait to see where he pops up again. Should be fun. So, that was the news of the week. Not a whole lot, like I said, but somehow I managed to drag it out. I am going to talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom today. This came out 2 years ago now. It's crazy to think that it already came out 2 years ago. Sometimes, that's really when you feel like time flies, is when you realize, shit, that movie already came out that long ago. Because you're always waiting for something. You're hyped for something that's coming out, and then all of a sudden it's been 2 years since that movie came out. And you're on to the next thing you're hyped for. It's crazy. But Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, this is good to talk about this now, considering the news that's been coming out about it. The franchise is growing. It's not coming to an end. And I think that's why it's a good time to talk about it, because it's not exactly the most, it's not perfect. It has flaws, but it's fun. It's definitely a more effective, big blockbuster story world than other things that I've mentioned that that I don't like. Which I think I've mentioned. Fast and Furious. Transformers and shit. So, these creatures don't need our protection. They need our absence. This movie's... here's the thing about the second one. It's not as good as the first Jurassic World, the first one with Chris Pratt. That was like, okay, they gave us a new Jurassic Park with, an interesting idea of, okay, what if how do humans and dinosaurs coexist? And here's why the franchise can work, because that's the thread they're pulling on. That's where they're going. Those are the questions that they're raising about this story world. Can humans and dinosaurs coexist? And so that's the big thing here. That's what they continue to play with that in this sequel, and I'm sure they'll further the idea in the next one. That line in that movie is, in my opinion, the best written line for the one who wrote it. They don't need our protection, they need our absence. This is immediately the question raised, and it's the two sides we see here. This is the idea that they play with. This is it's a curious direction to go, because it wasn't really tackled in the old classic Jurassic Park films. So that's why it works so far. thing is, they get a little repetitive with things. I mean, I don't believe we haven't seen some of these elements in the first Jurassic World. The idea is to try to be fresh when they come out with the next ones. I mean, so let's talk about story and script and whatnot. What I like about the Jurassic sequels here is how we managed to get multiple heroes, not just one. So we have Owen and we have Claire. They're both kind of the heroes of this story. That's what it has evolved into too. I think Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom 2 definitely gives Claire more of a she's more of a frontliner than she was in the first one. Owen, he's that typical reluctant hero. He decides to originally refuse the call. She comes to him, I want you to help me save the dinosaurs. He refuses the call, and then he eventually, obviously, takes it up and springs into action. But that's also because this film is building on their relationship too, from the last one, Owen and Claire. So when he refuses the call, it's really just him trying to get to her, trying to get under her skin. He's always gonna. He's a classic hero, Owen. He's gonna do the right thing. All it takes is for Claire to throw righteousness right in his face to make him fucking see that he needs to, obviously, do what he needs to do. But so anyway, I mean, it's a simple idea that they propose. Save the dinosaurs from their second extinction. In this regard, it is interesting. They play with the idea of, like, the themes are nature versus nurture. Like, we nurtured the dinosaurs back into existence. Nature is trying to correct that, mistake. The fact that the island they're on is going to explode, erupt from a volcano is like nature trying to correct what we did by bringing them back. So very interesting idea. But in this particular story, so man manipulated nature by bringing them back to life. But then it comes down to morality and ethics for the people involved in this story, for the characters, for our heroes. It's about morality. They can't stand by and allow the dinosaurs to simply go extinct. It's also fun because when you think of Jurassic films, the dinosaur is the monster, right? It's a monster movie. It's always been like a monster movie, like a Jaws, And the dinosaur is the monster. But in these most recent films, they play with the idea of man and dinosaur as allies. Instead of typical dinosaurs, as antagonists, we have people as the antagonists. It's people who are involved in the manipulation, of the dinosaur. So they're the antagonists. Our heroes are trying to save the dinosaurs. Our villains are trying to use the dinosaurs. Obviously, it always comes down to that. That's where I thought it was a little repetitive. We've seen that kind of villain before, the greedy, experiments, manipulating nature. Instead of sounds like they're yelling at each other up there. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear it, but if you can, that's great, because I don't want you to hear it. It's a pain in the ass. But, yeah. Where was I? Instead of the, so yeah, we get that greedy villain I thought was repetitive. But it worked in the fact that you get that dinosaur at the end. It's kind of, I'll talk about how I thought the dinosaurs play against each other in an interesting way. Claire, let's talk about Claire a little bit. Claire is good, so therefore she wants to save the dinosaurs. And, I mean, that's why she's so shocked when Owen is, like, even a little bit dismissive of the idea of doing it. It's just so not, his character, especially given the fact that he had such a relationship with Blue. Now, Blue is interesting because we get our first real dinosaur character. Blue is a character that we care about. It's not just the monster anymore. That's what I like about these recent films. Um, and that's what makes Owen an important character, because he brought into this story world that idea of the possibility of dinosaurs and people existing together, because him and Blue have a bond and a relationship. Blue is the second most intelligent species. They mention it. He is significant, and it's part of Owen's arc to realize his significance. The heroes need to recognize that dinosaurs are worth fighting for, and that they do truly need our absence. That is a big thing. So that line is one of the early lines in the beginning, said by the classic character that Jeff Goldblum plays. Of course, he has a more pessimistic perspective on the dinosaurs. He wants to let them die. But for the heroes, they too need to realize, yes, they need our absence, but they also shouldn't be killed. We should give them sanctuary and then leave them alone. It's important that question is proposed too, because the opposite kind of happens at the end, and that's why it works too. At least for the most part, the sequel does work, because there is those twists. The end doesn't exactly go the way that the heroes expected it to. They don't just get them their own island and then leave them alone. They end up in our world, in human environment. Letting them be free and live, though, is like the big recognition. Even though it doesn't go the way they planned, that's still the recognition, is to let them be. I also like how everything centers on this natural disaster. So we have this volcano that's going to erupt. It's nature trying to correct itself, right? Because just the idea of dinosaurs in general, to think about them living at the same time as us, has always been why these films are so interesting. That goes back to the original Jurassic Park. But this one really plays with the idea of our superiority, as the dominant species on the planet, being threatened by the dinosaurs. Sometimes there's a little too much nostalgia, I'll say. The opening of this one is so pulled from the original. That scene with Wayne Knight out in the rain, dinosaur coming after him, raincoat and the whole thing. That was just so pulled. But you kind of need that to open the movie, right? You need a little nostalgia to open the movie, pull you in, right? But sometimes they do get a little bit bogged down by some of the nostalgic elements. But you need that classic movie feel to this franchise. So they become very action packed. They're more action filled films. In the past, it was more of the monster movie kind of thing. Almost a horror element. But here they become more of an action film, but with the classic movie feel. Still there a little bit. We have those horror elements. They're there. I don't think that has been bogged down totally. I hope the third one coming out is more on par with the first one, though. So like the first one, did get. It was almost the perfect balance between feeling like the originals and being something new. The second one got a little repetitive of the first Jurassic World. And there was perhaps too many, just trying to throw almost a little fan servicey at us. The third one, I'm interested to see what direction they go, especially where this one left it. Structurally, it's meant to be a spectacle. It's become one of those constant franchises that focuses on nostalgic, big spectacle story worlds. So that's why we get one set piece after the next, throwing thrown at us. So yeah, so the structure of this is set piece, set piece, set piece are the plot points. It can sometimes feel sloppy, but really it's just fast paced. It's fast. The pacing is it's kind of just in they keep it moving. The inciting action is the conflict of the dinosaur's extinction. It's brought up right from the start. That's the inciting action. Do we or do we not save the dinosaurs? Mission. There's a mission, and do we or do we not take up the call to action? The true start of this film, at the end of Act 1, is when things shift and the volcano actually erupts. Because that happens, I think even earlier than they hoped for, now the dinosaurs are in our territory. That's why it's a total. That's why it's the true start. They bring them back to our part of the world, and it leaves us wondering what could happen next. So it's the true start. Volcano erupts. They save whatever dinosaurs they can. The film is able to maintain this nonstop action. There's funny moments. The idea that's proposed is consistently brought up. That they're worth saving, worth leaving to live their lives. That's why the midpoint is the significant, graceful moment. So it's a lot of action. So once again, similarly to Extraction and other action movies, we get a lot of action. I think the moment when we take a break, we get that graceful moment. That's the midpoint, And in this case, it's when they save Blue from that gunshot. And take the blood from the T-Rex. That's the midpoint. That's the reversal. It's the reversal because it's a defining character moment. It's that moment of human and dinosaur coexisting, truly embodied in that one scene. They save the Blue's life, and in return, he comes back to help them in the climax, of course. He is an actual character in this story, Blue. Overall, it is films like this that are organized into act sequences. Best to think of it as setup, set pieces, confrontation, set pieces, resolution, set pieces. That's what it feels like. Act 1 is a lot of setting up. Act 2, there's a lot of conflict, confrontation. Act 3, resolution, problem solved, Climax is the actual working together of humans and dinosaurs to beat the bad one. This is once again very familiar with moments from the first film. I feel like we had that in Jurassic World. The first Jurassic World, you had the T-Rex help Claire beat the other dinosaur. It's just that's a little repetitive. But they play with it. They take it a little further here. It does work because remember, the question that's proposed is nature versus nurture. You have the natural dinosaur, which is Blue, and you have the genetically manipulated dinosaur, which is the Indoraptor. That is the two sides clashing when those two dinosaurs fight each other. This film had two awesome shots visually that I have to point out. The two best shots were the one where Blue is standing on the defeated dinosaur at the end of the climax. It's a great shot. And the other shot I really love is the closing image, obviously, with Blue roaming free. The voiceover still posing that question has remained consistent throughout the film. How do we coexist with the dinosaurs? What's most cool is this film is about setting up an interesting third one. Even though the one before this was called Jurassic World, I liked how this one is trying to actually create the true Jurassic World. That ending shot is about letting us know we are actually in a Jurassic World now, with man and dinosaur living together in the same territories. That is what was unique about this particular film, because before that we didn't have the actual dinosaurs encroaching into our land like that. And now it really truly has become Jurassic World. I don't understand the title a little bit. I guess it's called Fallen Kingdom because their original island is what falls, but they still survived. Not really sure. But the next one's called Dominion. So I'm sure I think about it enough, I'll figure it out. Performances in this film, obviously Chris Pratt is a crowd pleaser. He always is. He's he's always fun to watch. And to be honest, I love how his character of Owen is kind of taking on this Indiana Jones energy. That's what his character feels like to me. Um, in these particular films, there's a new style that they're playing with. It's like a cowboy persona to our hero. Uh, I don't know. It's just here's the thing. Indiana Jones, he's an archaeologist, so it is similar. He's hunting ancient artifacts and whatnot. Here it's dinosaurs. What you want to talk about? Ancient artifacts, fossils, living fossils, dinosaurs. It fits to have that Indiana Jones type hero. I think definitely works for these kind of films. The fact that I mean, I could even see Chris Pratt playing Indiana Jones, to be honest. No doubt, honestly. I do think they always kind of played with that, though. Even our classic heroes from the originals kind of have that feel a little bit, don't they? I've mentioned it before. It's very cool. We have our original, Sam Neill's coming back, Laura Dern. They're coming back for Dominion. So to have our new heroes meet up with our old heroes, that immediately makes the next one already more interesting. My overall take on this sequel is that it feels too much like a sequel to other sequels. That's the main thing. They are clearly turning Jurassic Park into a series of films, but as long as they stay as enjoyable as they have, we shouldn't have a problem. They're fun enough. The Jurassic films will have the ability to throw a really good quality film at you every now and then. I think the first Jurassic World did that. I think every now and then they throw like a kind of... They throw one at you that feels sequel-y. You know what I mean? That's what this one was. The big things I took away from this one were that it's about letting nature take its course versus nature being nurtured or manipulated. We already manipulated nature by bringing them back to life in the first place. But then the idea is posed that we are humans. We have the ability to save them. We have the ability to take action. So the fact that we brought them back makes them our responsibility. That is why our heroes are the good guys we root for. Because we see that as an audience. We want to save them. We want to preserve them. They play with this by making us appeal to the effect the dinosaurs have had on people. That was a good take. So they throw children at us. Children growing up in a world where dinosaurs exist is something powerful and sacred. Because imagine if you grew up in a world where dinosaurs existed. The point is, it's still dangerous to live among them. So then comes in the antagonists and the villains. It's these people who bring the conflict. Man has an ability to create death and chaos, and that's what them creating this new dinosaur is representing. That's why it's important that the climactic battle is nature versus science, honor versus greed. The natural dinosaur fighting alongside the honorable people against the genetically made Indo-Rapper who represents the greedy manipulation of people. So that was great. The climax is great in this movie. Like I said, it always does feel a little familiar. They make it about this character of Massey, too. She did a good job, the young girl who played Massey. Good acting, good performance. I thought her reveal as being a clone was ridiculous. Too much. You're just throwing too much at us. And they did it to make us appeal even more to the dinosaurs and to wanting to save the dinosaurs. But you're not giving the audience enough credit. We already care about the dinosaurs. You've made us care about the dinosaurs already thus far. To throw that whole clone reveal and then her little moment, I'm a clone just like them. I would want you to save me, but it was too much. It was ridiculous. And I get it. You don't get to play God. It's all those similar themes. Um, but I just thought that was a little much. But Massey, I think more than that, represents a child in a world with dinosaurs. Like children grew up in a world where dinosaurs exist. She's one of these children. She represents those children. She embodies all the children who have grown up with dinosaurs. We get that moment too when she finds the computer recording of Owen and Blue, how he raised Blue, and she sees that there's a chance for them to coexist, for us and them to coexist. I liked that part of it. Just thought her reveal was ridiculous. More than saving the dinosaurs, it's about preserving the magic of them, preserving the beautiful miracle of dinosaurs existing in our time. This is the one and only consistent idea these films should express. So whether it's admiring them or fighting for them, their story is also one of change. Even they fight alongside our heroes to preserve their own innocence and keep that magic alive. So even the dinosaurs have evolved over these films. Over the course of these films, over the course of this story, I love that the dinosaurs have evolved too. They have an arc. I like that comparison between the innocence of children and the innocence of dinosaurs. That's why the quiet and graceful moments in between the set pieces, like Saving Blue, that's where this film's heart really shines through. The greedy bad guys is repetitive, I've said. They're one-dimensional. Even the dinosaurs being, the dinosaur experimentation, we've seen that. Even in the classics, we've seen that. It's a little tired. But the main theme shines through, and as long as it does, it remains fun. It remains somewhat effective. It's not as effective as the first one, so I think, like I said, the best way to describe this one is that it's a sequel that feels like a sequel to sequels. All in all, at least, it still has the necessary horror beats these films should have, and even though it doesn't have the same energy as Jurassic Park, or even live up to Jurassic World, the first one, it's fun enough to watch a few times. I didn't like it as much having seen it again, but if I was going to watch a marathon, it fits right in. That's the best way to finish this discussion off. So, overall, I gave it 7.5. It's okay. It's not even that. It's not really like even that good. It's okay. The first Jurassic World was good. This one's okay. Still interested to see the third. But yeah, that's where we are with Jurassic Park films right now. Let's do our movie quote of the week. This week's genre is action and sci-fi. Sort of a mix. Here's one that you definitely should get. It's a one-liner. It's been said in multiple films in this specific franchise. Come with me if you want to live. Name that movie, please. You gotta know it. I'm going to try to do some promotions soon. I don't know what exactly yet. Maybe something where, like, if you can recommend the show to people and somehow let me know that you have, I don't know. For every follower I get that you recommended, you get a free Screen Preach t-shirt. Or something. I'm still working on the details of that, so don't take me up on it yet. I will have some kind of promotion or something. Become a patron at Patreon, too, and you'll get early releases of episodes. How about that? I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm working those parts out. We'll keep growing here as a show. This was fun. I like talking about Jurassic Park. Jurassic World. Jurassic Park. Jurassic World. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Jurassic World Dominion. It just seems like a lot, doesn't it? Still fun. As always, I'm your host, Ben Morganti. Follow the show at Screen Preach. Follow me personally. Follow me personally. You know, with your purse. Follow me personally. Follow me personally at Ben Morganti. Check out my website. I added a couple of short scripts. The same short films that are on YouTube at BMS. Subscribe to BMS Studios on YouTube. Those same films have scripts on my website at benmorgantistory.com. Become a true supporter of the show by becoming a patron at Patreon. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, or if you want to watch it on YouTube at BMS Studios. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening or watching. Join me next week. I'm going to talk about the Aladdin reboot from last year. Yes, I am. But as usual, let me know what you're watching on any of these social media platforms. I'm interested. If you don't agree with anything that I've said today, let me know, and we'll have a conversation about it. But other than that, as usual, have a cinematic week.